Let's read this again. Look at the I wills. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. I will make your name great. Look at all the I wills. All the I wills. How many of you want to receive all of those I wills? Because did you know that you are the seed of Abraham through Jesus Christ, and all those I wills are your inheritance? And let me ask you, are you walking right now to the full potential of every one of those I wills? Most of us should probably say, no, I'm not. Why? Because there are conditions. It's like this. It's like he's saying, if and then. If these conditions are met, then the I wills will pursue after you, and you'll have to do nothing to seek after them. What was the condition? The condition was to leave the familiar place that he was in. How many of you are in a familiar place right now? That would be me. I'm in a familiar place. Actually, many of you, more of you, should be raising your hands than that. That's what I do know. If you live in West Texas as a believer, chances are you're in a very, very, very familiar place in your life. Familiar is comfortable, isn't it? Familiar is safe. Familiar is not scary. Familiar requires no faith in my life to believe that there's anything less, anything greater, anything more than where I am right now. The requirement was for him to leave that which was so familiar to him, because there was a destiny awaiting him. There was something greater that God had for him, but he had to leave the familiar. Yes, Lord, that's true. I just heard the Lord say church has become familiar to most people in our region. Church life has become so familiar to our culture. You want to know how familiar church life? Can I share with you how familiar our church life is? It becomes so familiar that most of us care less whether we go or not. We've got other important things to do than go to church on Sunday. We've got other important things to even come regularly to be equipped and trained. Why? Because I care nothing of being equipped to be a world changer. I don't really care whether or not I'm called to my place of destiny or influence or not. I am familiar and comfortable with my life. I am safe. Your safe place is the most dangerous place for you as a believer. You have not been called into a place of safety just so you can be comfortable. But you've been called into a place through an open door to make a difference, because God has a destiny for you, and your destiny is awaiting you. Would you like to come to heaven and stand before God one day and He said, I had all of this available for you, but you didn't walk through this open door? All you had to do was to leave that which was so familiar and come into a place of unfamiliarity. Yeah? You see, the transition is this, and I believe that the year 2013 is a year of transition going into the year 2014, where one chapter is being closed and a brand new one is beginning. Have you ever read a book and you finished the chapter and just wanted to stay in that chapter? Or did you want to progress to the new chapter? Anybody? Or did you ever watch a movie and decided that you wanted to stay in one portion of the movie and never go to what was ahead? You wanted to find out what was in the next portion of the movie, or maybe a theatrical play or presentation. Scene one, you just wanted to stay in scene one. Let's just stay at scene one. No, there was an end of that chapter. There was an end to that scene. There was an end to that point to where there had to begin a new one. Yes? What I'm declaring to you, that there are chapters in your life right now in 2013 that are coming to an end. And the new chapter has begun. A new season is about to begin, and it's transitionary. But there are doors. There are doors that are going to be opened for you that if you do not have the faith to go through, you will stay stuck in chapter 1. It's up to you. Here's what I know. 7 years from now, I will not be where I am now. And you should not be where you are now either. But here's what I have seen. Can I be real with you for just a second? I've seen many of you stuck for several years in the same place that you've been when I first met you. You've made little, very small spiritual progression. And I used to battle with that and ask God, what was it that I was doing wrong? He said it wasn't you. And so your progression of going forward through these open doors has everything to do with you and nothing to do with me. Well, it has something to do with me, because if God's placed me into your life to admonish you, to encourage you, and to equip you, to show you, and to help you, to guide you, to lead you, to be there at least for a time to say, this is the way to walk in it. If something's been given to you, you should do well with what's been given to you if you want more. That is a spiritual principle of the kingdom, by the way. Yeah? And there are open doors that are coming in this season, 2014. And I'm claiming them for myself. Because to be honest with you, I feel that I've reached a place of being stuck. And I know that 2014 holds something for me. It's transitionary for me. There's a flap, a door of opportunity that's going to open for me in 2014. And I'm going to take every advantage of it. And I'm not going to allow fear to prevent me to stay stuck where I am right now. And neither should you. Neither should you. There's some of you feel stuck right now. You've been doing the same thing over and over and over and over for many, many years as a Christian. Going to church, going to work, going to church, going to work. You haven't seen any change in your families. You hadn't seen any change in your relationship. You hadn't seen change in your marriages. You hadn't seen any change in your children. You hadn't seen changes in the world around you. You haven't seen those things transition in your life like you had hoped for. But what I can tell you is that God has another plan. That if you feel like you've been doing the ministry thing this way because this is the only way that you knew, then God says, stop doing what you know to do. Because what you know to do hasn't worked. And you have been following this whole thing called insanity, the cycle of insanity. It's where you do the same things over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Yeah, and that's why many people do not go to church, because they've gone to church and it didn't work for them because it was the same cycle, the same message every Sunday. They didn't realize, someone didn't teach them, someone didn't pour into their life and tell them, this isn't what it's about. I'm here to equip, to train, to teach, to prophesy, to declare, to help you to transition from one season to the next so that you can reach your maximum level of influence where God has called you into. And what He's called you into for most of you is not in church ministry. Many of you may have even struggled thinking that you were called into church ministry. Most people are not called into church ministry, but most people will not set still long enough to be poured into, to be of impact and influence in the world, so the church is the only thing that they know. Here we go again. We're going to do church until we grow old and tired and we see nothing happen in our lives. Yeah? I will share with you a little statement that Randall Worley, a friend of ours, that's one of the things I was thankful for is that the relationships that God has placed me with. I didn't even know until the other day that he was Dr. Randall Worley. Should have guessed that he had a doctorate or 2 or 3, maybe more. But he doesn't go by that because he doesn't want to see people other than him just being a real person. This guy has more wisdom than most people I've ever met. But he made this statement about transition. And transition is a word. We're in transition. And again, I shared this in pre-service prayer. Here's the thing about transition, and this is something that we all must recognize. I'm either in transition, or I've just gone through a transition, or I'm about to go. I'm either in transition, have just came out of transition, or I'm about to go into transition. A lot of people call that storms. I either came out of a storm, just came out of one, or fixing to go into one. No, those are transitions. Most of the time we think and label them as storms. But those storms, those trials, they are meant to happen into your life for transition. To get you somewhere, to put pressure on your life to where you say, I think I'm sick of being this way and being stuck here. I want out of this boat. Here's transition defined by Randall Worley. I love this. I'm not where I was, and I'm not yet where I'm going. Everybody say that. Say, I'm not where I was, and I'm not yet where I'm going. If you do not believe that, then you're stuck as a Christian, and you're just going to church, and your life is we could sit into church and sit in that chair Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, but if we're not doing with something with the revelation that God is pouring into us, or we're not taking the opportunity to be poured into, to be equipped, to be trained, to be activated, and then to be sent out again and again and again, and to be of maximum influence in the culture, this place would be over full right now. The only way that the kingdom can ever grow is organically. It's not from Christians leaving one church and going to another, which is usually how churches grow. That's not how the kingdom is expanded at all. People just froggy around from one building to the next. Rivet.